Alright, so the country that I was assigned is Hungary, and I did a lot of research about the country and their culture and their food. I didn't find anything that really stood out to me that I wanted to talk about until I found an article about the Rubik's Cube and how it was invented in Hungary. And you're probably thinking, why is she going to be talking about a toy the entire time? But to the Hungarians, it's not just a toy. Like, the Rubik's Cube is a really big deal to them. So we're going to be talking about the history of the cube, the importance of it to the Hungarian community, and what the Rubik's Cube has done today. So we're going to start off with the history. It was invented by a man in Budapest, Hungary. His name is Erno Rubik, and this is his picture. That's him, you know, like today, but he was much younger when he invented it. He's an architect, designer, and a university professor. And he made the first working prototype in 1974. And this is what the cube originally looked like. It was carved from wood. And he actually didn't design it to be a toy. He designed it to be a model to help understand three-dimensional geometry, and it later kind of became a toy. So in 1975, he patents the Magic Cube and he begins mass production. So at first it was called the Magic Cube. Until 1980, when he began exporting to other countries, then he renamed it the Rubik's Cube as we know it today. So you're probably thinking, oh, well, that's great, you know, whatever. Why is this so important? Well, in Hungary, it is super, super important to them. They actually had an entire art movement after the Rubik's Cube. It's called Rubik Cubism. I think that's how you say it. I'm not sure. So if you want to click. They make artwork out of Rubik's Cubes. And it's pretty crazy. It's really cool. There's some more pictures. There's the Mona Lisa. And there's one more, the Last Supper. And you can see how big that is. There's like a dude standing next to it. You can see, I'm sorry. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And not only did it influence art, but it influenced fashion, architecture, music, films, plays, and even political speeches. Mr. Rubik actually made a special Rubik's Cube for this European politician, and he used it in some of his speeches as like a metaphor for the economy and stuff like that. And there's a picture of him. That's him during a speech using a Rubik's Cube. And so it's important to realize that this cube is not just a toy. It's very mathematical. It involves algorithms and formulas if you are really intent on solving it, which is probably why I never played with them for more than 2 minutes when I was younger, because I'm terrible at math. I never really understood them. And they even have annual international Rubik's Championships. I've got a few pictures. This is a little boy who's blindfolded and he's solving a Rubik's Cube, so that's amazing. And here's another one. They have they time you and see how fast you can solve them. I even have some of the records. In 1982, the fastest was 19 seconds. And in 2013, it got down to 5.55 seconds. Jeez. And there is a record for solving it one-handed, and that's 9.43 seconds. And this blew my mind. Someone solved it with their feet only in 27.93 seconds. And the most cubes solved in 24 hours was 4,786 cubes. And that was by a Hungarian, so they're really proud of that. So yeah, that just, it blows my mind. And I tried to read some articles and kind of understand a little bit more the math behind the Rubik's Cube. And here are some of the titles of the articles I found. One is called, What the Small Rubik's Cube Taught Me About Data Structure, Information Theory, and Randomization. Another is, An Empirical Study in the Design Studio, the Rubik's Cube Metaphor. I tried reading these articles. They went right over my head. They used really big words and talked about math. So what I got from these articles is an appreciation for those who can understand these articles and can solve the Rubik's Cube. So today, they are still having championships. They do them annually. They even have books out on how to solve the Rubik's Cube. If you want to go one more. This was the first book ever published on the Rubik's Cube. In 1980, he began exporting them. And this book was published in 1981 by a 12-year-old boy from England who figured out how to solve them. So I thought that was crazy. And they have websites and like fan forums and stuff like that. And they even have videos of people like solving them really fast or even teaching you how to solve them. And one thing that I thought was really cool and really crazy is they are going to open a Rubik's Cube museum, and hopefully that will be open to the public in 2017 if all the plans go well. And is going to exhibit the last 1,100 years of the Hungarian intellectual performance, and it will be shaped like a Rubik's Cube. This is what the museum is going to look like in 2017. So I thought that was a little crazy. So I hope you all learned a little bit more about the background of the cube and where it comes from. And even if you can't understand the math behind it, because I know I can't, I hope that you have more of an appreciation for those who can understand it. And I hope you know why it's so important in the country of Hungary now. And how powerful the cube still is today. It's, you know, it's been around for many, many years, and it's still really popular. Like this one I found in the dollar store. So they're still around. They're still kicking. So I challenge you to go home and find your Rubik's Cube in the corner of your room, dust it off, and try to play it again and see if you can solve it. So good luck to you.
Good job.